It's been quite some time since I made a recording, but I wanted to show off probably my favorite deck of the format, which I feel got an extremely strong upgrade with the most recent set. Um, while it was previously Transmog Titan, now I guess it's Transmog Atraxa. And for those that don't know, the deck is hoping to land a turn 2 ramp plus creature in Briefcase or Careful Cultivation channel, and then turn 3 target it with Transmogrify, which will spin until we hit a creature. We only ran one. Previously that was Titan of Industry, which was a 7 mana 7/7 with Reach and Trample, which was really good at the time. Essentially, on an empty board, you're gonna make a 4/4 and put a shield counter on Titan, which would give you 11 power. A good chunk of it had Trample. And you also had the ability to naturalize or gain life in a pinch, which made your matchup versus aggro really good. Now we have access to what I would say is pretty much better in every way, except for being unable to naturalize. Sometimes comes up, but that's Atraxa. Also 7 mana 7/7 with flying instead of reach, which is better in every single way except versus, I guess, Shacklegeist. And Vigilance and Lifelink is an incredibly potent combination on a 7 attack body, allowing you to gain 14 life if they have to attack into it, and then you can attack back for 7 more. And then Death Touch, which not super relevant on a big body like this. But I want to say that this card isn't run because of its keywords and stats. Those are really nice, but it has an incredible enter the battlefield ability. Looking at the top 10 cards and putting one of each card type in your hand. Similar to Niv Mizzet, except you don't have to run dual color cards, you get to run good cards instead. And this can draw you anywhere from 4 to 7 cards. I'd say 5 is pretty average, with us having a good variety of card types to hit off of it. It's just so potent versus Rakdos, really good versus Control if it lands. It's all around just an incredible card, and I am quite pleased with it. Even though it's legendary, so you can't get multiple out, you can't copy it with Fable, it's still just better in pretty much every way. Now, we are running Jund instead of previous versions where we did run just Gruul. I've found that the mana base is a lot easier in Pioneer nowadays with the full cycle of Painlands. This deck specifically has a really good time with Painlands since, barring Ob Nixilis and I guess Atraxa, every single card is only a single color pip. So these Painlands are oftentimes just free. We're also running World Tree, which I wanted to point out as kind of a concession to hopefully cast Atraxa later games, since if you have 6 lands, all your lands tap for Wooburg or whatever you want. The sacrifice to get any number of god cards is unfortunately not relevant, though it would be cool if Atraxa was also a Phyrexian Angel god, but not the case. Anyway, as said, we are Jund. Now we have access to Thoughtseize, which makes our control matchup from probably a 30% with Titan into maybe 60 or 70%, with Atraxa also picking up the slack, being way better versus control, not just getting wrathed, because it still drew you 6 cards. Fatal Push is better than pretty much every red removal you can find for 1 mana, unless you're like discarding stuff for Lightning Axe, which we are not doing. This can kill Shieldred, anywhere to Llanowar Elf, anything in between. It's just premium. And then we're also running Ob Nixilis, which I wanted to point out as a new addition, though it's not really new because I played Jund previously, and it was fine there, but this card is good versus control, being able to casualty and make a copy of it, but I found that it's actually really good for just turning your 3-turn clock with Atraxa into a 2-turn clock by casualtying her, putting the -7 of the copy at your opponent, dealing him 7 damage, and winning the game that way. Aside from that, you run nice value in Fable and Chariot. My guess is those are the best green and red card. And I think that's pretty much all for the main board I wanted to talk about. It's an incredibly potent mid-range with a over-the-top game plan. And the sideboard has some interesting tools as well. We are a Giganta deck instead of a Kahira deck, since Atraxa fits with Giganta and is unfortunately not an elemental, but Giganta, in my opinion, is, again, probably just better. It is a 5 body instead of a 3/2, so it doesn't die to Stomp or any other medium removal. It doesn't die to Push, even Revolted. And the tap ability has been incredibly relevant, more so than I ever would have expected looking at it the first time. You can get your white and blue mana through that to cast your Atraxa from hand if you happen to draw it. It also can draw you 3 cards with Courier's Briefcase's activated ability. And again, it's just a 5/5 sometimes, which is often all you need. And it's also a transmog target, which has been relevant more than once. That dodges Push and pretty much any other removal. We also run Duress to help our combo and control matchup out a lot. It also helps versus permission decks like the Creativity deck. Rending Volley really gives us a lot of game versus Spirits and Humans, which Spirits is pretty tough for us. Definitely winnable, but not one that I chuckle at when I see it like I do with Red-Black. And then Humans, it's really good versus them. Those are the main two I bring this in versus. Though it's also good versus Greasefang, which Unlicensed Hearse is also pretty much, I guess, only there for, since I don't really see any Phoenix nowadays. It's a way to make our game 2 and 3 matchup just way better versus them. Rending Volley, Hearse, Push, Prophecy, we have a lot of ways to win, and our win condition, if we get ours down before they do, we'll pretty much always win, since we'll essentially get a net gain of 5 life per turn, even through a Perihelion. And then Extinction Event is our big way to combat Mono Green Devotion. It also comes in a lot versus Angels, which has been surprisingly popular. All around good card. Even if you have to exile your Atraxa to it, you're normally okay with it since you've drawn a couple cards, and normally that's another way to get into Atraxa. And finally, Luca, Bound to Ruin. This was previously Tyrannix Rex as our big uncounterable threat versus control. Though without Kahira, we actually lose access to Giganta since it's 4 green. So that was quite bad to essentially have a hedge versus control that made your control matchup kind of worse, and it also made your Transmogrifys a lot worse, since if you need your Atraxa and you get a nice beefy boy, you're feeling really silly when they wrath you next turn. So Luke is good. It's also another Planeswalker to help your card types out with Atraxa. But that's pretty much all I wanted to mention about the deck. It's been really good to me. I've gotten 3 5-0s with it so far and countless 4-1s. But I guess I will see you for game number 1. Alright, and we are off with match number 1, going second with what I would consider to be a pretty tolerable hand. We've got 8 different ramp spells we could draw, and barring that, we have some interaction and a turn 5 transmog, potentially. I think that this is quite good. Okay, this is looking like it either is Greasefang or Angels, but we won't have to... Oh, that's exactly what we wanted to draw. I was going to say we won't have to wait too long to find out. Let's see what they're on. Okay, looks like it is Greasefang. I will, of course, be taking Satyr Wayfinder here, because otherwise they would have a pretty good chance at turn 3 Greasefang with that evolution of theirs. Okay, but we have our combo that we will potentially be getting off next turn. All right. So I will hopefully have them tap out here. Okay. I was gonna say that would be best case scenario. Now I think we might see what I was mentioning when I said that Greasefang, if we get our combo down before they do, we just can't really lose, but I guess we'll see about that. I'll take Push, I'll take Fable. I think I want an untapped red source with Sekenzin, and then actually I guess Blightstep is probably just better. I don't think I want another Atraxa here. We just have to discard anyway. I think that was perfectly fine. A little lower on the choices, but that's okay with me. I'm having some trouble with the revealed cards. I've had that for a little bit, so I'll try and fix that before next match. Because I do like to keep track of cards in hand. Okay, so it looks like they will be able to get their combo off themselves, but I can block the 4/4 Angel it makes and be in a pretty commanding position. There's no reason to block the Parhelion in my mind. And yeah, pretty much all I've got to say about that. I'll probably Thoughtseize, hold open, push after I crack back and attack them. They are still going to attack. I will take a total of 2 damage from this. And then we'll get most of it back. I guess best draw would probably be something to trigger Revolt maybe would be okay, like a Briefcase. I mean, that triggers Revolt, but I'm not going to go for it here. I'll take a peek at their hand. I probably take the Informant here. And then might as well attack first. So they have Parhelion, EE, and Mana Confluence. So they can tribute or sack one of their creatures to get another Informant to bin, which I'm okay with them doing that. If they want to waste an entire card, that's fine by me. And we essentially are outpacing them in both clock and life gain, so they're not in a great spot. I feel great about doing this well on turn or on game 1 of this matchup, since it's hard-ish, but post board is incredibly favored for us, I would say. Or not incredibly favored, but a lot more favored than it is normally. So I'm trying to think if they have any like toolbox targets they could get that would beat us now. I'm struggling to think about that. Is this just a Chariot of their own? No, they're just going to get a 4-drop or lower, probably just going to be a 2-drop for the 3rd Raffine's Informant. Yep, that tracks. And I don't have Revolt, so there's nothing I really can do. But I'll probably block and push an Angel token. I know they've got Mana Confluence in hand. I don't know anything else they've got. And there's some option for me to... Actually, no. I was going to say I'd like get them to double block, but I really don't care. I just outpace them here. And I can kill them if they don't block by doing the ob play. take first strike and then go back up to 19. Feeling pretty great about ourselves here. Okay. So if they don't block, they lose. If they do block, they probably still can lose. Okay, yeah, that's game. I can push here, attack for 7, sack the ob, make them draw. Now, maybe they have a nice sneaky interaction, but I feel like these decks are pretty stock. But hey, if I'm gonna lose some ridiculous way, that would be okay. I lost to notable elf player Xbox Greg, to a Chord of Calling for a Mist Caller earlier, which was disappointing, but quite funny. So yeah, I'll casualty, I'll make him draw 7. You can draw. They're dead. So yeah, that just sped up the clock a little bit. Not gonna complain about that. We bring in Volley and Hearse all of the time here. I normally cut some number of Chariot, Obnixilis, Fable, just because Chariot really doesn't matter, since if we get our game plan going, we pretty much can't lose. And if we're going to a mid-range, I would normally, I guess one Chariot is normally enough, but I hope we don't go to the mid-range anyway. And then for the last cut, it's normally another, like an Atraxa, just because this is not a matchup where our Atraxa is constantly dying, like in control or mid-range. So I feel like something like this is fine. Push is still tolerable. Prophecy's good. Volley's great. Unlicensed Hearse is amazing. And then we still have our turn 2 into turn 3 opportunity. Our opponent took the whole time to sideboard. I guess it was a bit of a tough choice for them. That's fine. It's their time. I don't think this is a great hand. A single Thoughtseize and we probably just can't win. We do have like Briefcase with Revolted Push, but I don't really want to keep this with so many dead cards. I guess this is better. I'll put back a Push. But this is not the best hand we could ask for. Hoping to dodge this Thoughtseize coming my way. But we can't choose. They will, of course, take our Thoughtseize here. So we're going to be struggling a bit here. We need to draw something good, I'd like to say. We have a lot of good draws. Stomping Ground, I don't think qualifies, but that's okay. Can just play it tapped. And it may be prudent to push a 2-drop to avoid their Eldritch Evolution play, depending on how things go. If they bin like a... Okay, well they missed. Again, I can't show this. Maybe I can try and reset it. I'll do that after this game. I don't want to mess everything up in the middle of a recording. But they didn't hit anything good, so maybe it's not worth it. We missed on drawing anything good again, which is disappointing, but they don't know that. They for all they know, our hand could be good. So, best draw next turn would probably be Fable. That was what their draw was. Okay, Informant. Do they have the Parhelion? Looks like a no, or else they probably would have just slam discarded it. Okay, Mana Confluence is the pitch. They have another Thoughtseize, it looks like. No, just Stitcher Supplier. They didn't hit anything I care about. And I might as well push the Informant here. I don't want to float the mana. And I might just have to tap out for... Ooh, I was going to say tap out for a companion ad. I still think I am going to do that. They would need to hit a pretty good mill on that for it to matter, and I just don't really think that doing nothing for more turns is a winning line. Though if they Eldritch Evolution the Supplier and mill over something good, we'll probably just be losing here. Nice to have a companion, even though I'd rather not be using it here. Let's see if they also managed to get... Oh, it doesn't look like a Chariot coming down pre-combat at least. We're on a 10-turn clock. Hopefully in that amount of time we've drawn out of things. I'm just going to yield to conserve time. Let's see. I guess I can restore defaults. Yeah, I'll mess with that later again. Worst case scenario here is definitely land Chariot. Does not look like that is the case. Are they going for the Eldritch Evolution now? They would have won if they'd done that, because they would have gotten a Greasefang into Parhelion, so I'm not going to complain about that one. But I bet they feel a little silly about that one. I really don't understand why they wouldn't, unless they're afraid of getting this under some threat of removal, but it's under threat of removal now. Anyway, we can hold open 2 removal spells with Revolted, Fatal Push, and Rending Volley. If they go to begin combat, I will allow the Parhelion to hit the battlefield, and then, or sorry, not hit the battlefield, but allow the Greasefang trigger to hit the stack, and then I'll Rending Volley it. Maybe this deck is running that protection spell that gains you 2 life. I forget what it's called, but we'll see about that. I know I have a friend in locals who has done that in the past and had at least some success with it, so. Okay, does not look like that is the case, so thankfully we should not be taking a nice 14 damage hit this turn at least, and I would probably block. This upcoming turn I'm going to, looks like they're land light, almost assuredly land my Giganta. We can still hold open a Fatal Push with Revolt, and not only is it a clock, but it allows us to cast any Atraxa we may draw in the future. So I'm feeling okay. I guess the worst case scenario would be end of turn Abrupt Decay, then Rafine's Informant, land, can't stay away. Would be the absolute nightmare scenario for us here. But barring that, we can do a pretty good job controlling the ground with Giganta, and we have Fatal Push to stave off any combo lines. Let's see a Grisly Salvage most likely here. Nope. They're just kind of bereft of options, which I'm okay with. I'm never going to complain when my opponent's having a rough time, because they certainly wouldn't if I was. So I guess best draw would probably be actually Atraxa here. We can cast it with Giganta mana and then hold open Stomping Ground, Darkboard Pathway. We'll draw a land and some removal almost assuredly. Maybe a Chariot, or not Chariot, Hearse. But even if we don't, we have Fable, which is really good. So I'm gonna guess that they have like 6 Chariots in hand, because they're doing nothing. Might as well get in on the ground while I still can. No reason to hold back if they want to block. They're going to block the Giganta anyway, I feel like. And definitely casting the Fable. There's a strong consideration to hold on to the Overgrown Tomb to have another discard outlet. So I think I'm going to do that here. We're not really hurting for mana with our Shaman token, our Giganta, our Briefcase, and our 5 lands. I think mana is less pressing than A, not dying, and B, drawing into some good cards. Let's see. Transmog, Atraxa, Chariot, Hearse, Rending Volley. All of those are really good cards. What are they doing here for white? Okay, Vanishing Verse. That seems like an interesting addition. That would be way more potent if we were Creativity or if we were still on Titan. But we're not. Okay, Duress. There's literally no reason for me not to go for the Fatal Push here. So we know they got Parhelion in hand. Do they have a way to beat us? I'm still expecting a Chariot to come down here. And, okay, I was going to say, next turn we actually have the ability to crack Briefcase. Could have done it this last turn. I guess I wasn't thinking about that. But we got it. That was a little mopey hand from Greasefang for that game too, but that's just sometimes how the deck goes. I'm going to try and fix this, not showing for match number 2, but I'll see you then. Alright, we are back for match number 2, going second again with perfectly tolerable hand, actually. I guess if we draw any untapped land, we would feel a little bit better, but I think I'm probably going to shock Overgrown Tomb and Thoughtseize first. I don't know if I recognize this player's username, and yeah, that's all I really need to say. Hoping that they don't have a turn 1 Thoughtseize, but okay, is this another Greasefang? I think I might have actually played this person last league. Could be right. We did get our untapped land. Let's see if we can't take a peek at what they've got going on. Okay. I think Grizzly Salvage is the only logical thing to take here. The biggest punish is that they have a creature this upcoming turn that mills a card. I guess they'd have to go like exactly mill 3 off of the Stitcher Supplier. Okay. They could be holding open something. I don't believe they are. Take a little bit of pain just to potentially have access to Beseiju in the future. Let's see if they have a Grizzly Salvage that they ripped from the very top that just wins them the game on the spot. But if not, I don't think they run Fatal Push main. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself. We'll have the red mana from Briefcase. Hopefully they'll tap out for something mopey. Okay, they didn't have anything end of turn. I'd feel a lot better about going for it if they did tap out this turn. Is this just a Greasefang? No, just an Informant. Probably best thing I could see would be them pitching a Chariot, since that would mean they don't have anything that just like kills me on the spot. Okay, 2 unknown cards. Do I believe one of them is Fatal Push? I think regardless of if I do, the upside to this is just so immense that we have to go for it. Okay, it went off really quickly. We'll take Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, Fable, Chariot, and I think we can take an Atraxa here. It largely is unlikely to come up, but we do have World Tree, and who doesn't love a nice draw spell like that? I'll probably pitch Fable, Proving Ground. I want to keep Briefcase just for a Fatal Push Revolt in the future. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, there's some option to keep Proving Ground, just have more lands, but another Greasefang, pretty quick game, which I always like because this deck is not one that I particularly enjoy facing. So I believe this was the plan that we had. Been an Atraxa since it doesn't die. Oh, I didn't mention it in the intro, but Atraxa is immune to Power Word Kill, I think is what it's called. I forget what it is. But the 2 mana destroy target non-whatever, but it says non-angel, and Atraxa is an angel. So we'll run this back and hopefully have a repeat of game number 1. Alright, we are back for game number 2 versus Greasefang with a hand that even if we were game 1 would be bad. Even if we didn't know we were versus Greasefang, this is not a good hand. So I will not be keeping it. This is better. The Thoughtseize is going to have to take us a long way, but Transmog off the top would be nice. I expect this... Okay, I was going to say I expect this to be a matchup where Duress and such come in a lot more. I would not say that another land is what we're looking for, but at least it's an untapped land. I think I actually do not take the Greasefang. I think I want to take Eldritch Evolution just because they have Can't Stay Away anyway. So, could be a bad call, but I don't really want to just die to them bringing it back. And I don't think taking Can't Stay Away was the call. Okay. That'll be nice later. For now, I'm just going to channel Careful Cultivation and hope to draw something good next turn. Okay, the nightmare of them having drawn another Eldritch Evolution and land did not come to pass here. So now next worst case scenario would be land into Greasefang and then land into Chariot. Looks like that might be the case. We do really hope for a Transmog off the top here, as we so often do. Chariot's probably one of the better ones we could have gotten, though obviously not nearly as good as just winning on the spot. I think this is better than Thoughtseize and Briefcase. It at least contests their Chariot if they happen to have drawn another land, which does not look like they have. I assume this is a... I don't actually know what this is. Okay, Grizzly Salvage. Okay, and that's the game. A little unfortunate, but that's often how this matchup goes. It's very swingy, and I don't think that there was much we could have done about that. We technically could have survived a turn, but even our best draw of Atraxa would not have gotten us there. Or our best draw of Transmog. I don't think it would have. Maybe it would have. I don't believe so. So run it back with hopefully a stronger hand. I mean, this is fine. It's not great since we can only choose one of our colors. So I think I'm probably going to keep it and hope to draw a red source, or maybe it's even better to not go for the turn 1 Thoughtseize. Yeah, actually I do like that because we were trying to get Transmog here. So I'll keep this and play World Tree turn 1. Looks like they might have a turn 1 Thoughtseize. They do not. Do we get a land? That's probably one of the better things we could have asked for as well. I think this still is better on red than black. The argument against that is, of course, that we still want to launch our Thoughtseize. So I could have probably played a... Okay, Rafine's Inform. I could have probably played just another forest there. What do they bin? A Chariot. Scary. Atraxa. I don't think it's arguable that that is the worst draw we could have gotten. I do see some merit in going for the Thoughtseize here, just to get a better understanding of what we're facing. We don't really have anything that needs black, aside from like Fatal Push. And if we're drawing Transmog, we're still in a good spot. Okay. There's an argument to take Duress, there's an argument to take Greasefang, argument to take Chariot. I think I'm okay with taking any of those, actually. So if I take Greasefang... kind of want to take the Duress, just because I'd like to bury the Atraxa here. And we can kill the Greasefang. Could definitely also take the Chariot, but I don't think that is a good idea. Really hoping for... We've got 2 draws to get ourselves a nice Transmog. They might see that it's proper to not commit the Greasefang and just go for the Wayfinder, but I think the advantage... Okay, so they drew Blooming Marsh return. We'll kill this while we have a chance. And we'll definitely be bottoming the Atraxa. Okay, well, you don't always have to be the highest skill player when you can just draw this well. I will not block and immediately lose the game, and we drew a black source. Not that it matters. So, to say we're in a commanding position would be putting it lightly. We'll even be able to retain the Boseiju for some emergency situation where it comes up. No reason not to attack, unless I want to save some clicks, but I don't. I want to win. Okay, Rending Volley, amazing. Unlicensed Hearse is a free pick. Transmogrify is a free pick. Fable is a free pick. And I think it's either Forest or one of the pathways. It's not going to matter in too much time because of the World Tree. But I think Carplusian Forest has the highest chance of mattering. So we'll get a nice draw 5 that will essentially make a loss impossible. Because even if they have a combo, and they can get their Parhelion. We'll have, again, only have to take 2 damage. We'll be able to kill the Angel and set up a Graveyard Lock, have Besage you for any emergency situation. The game's just over. And so that's another match versus Greasefang down. I'll see you for match number 3. Alright, so we are back for match number 3. This time we do win the die roll. Let's see if it's another Greasefang opponent. The first time I got a 5-0 with this deck, I faced 4 copies of Creativity, which is really funny, and then 1 Elves. This is not a keepable hand. This is. We do need to, of course, draw a untapped land, but even if we don't, I guess, or a red source, rather, we need to draw. But this is still a tolerable hand. I think I will send back one of the cultivations and start with our World Tree. So we've got quite a few sources of mana. Okay, looks like another Greasefang opponent, maybe. Guess that's just how it's gonna be today. So red source would be immediately game winning, I think. Is this really gonna be another Greasefang opponent? Like, I get that it's popular, but we'll see in a second. Looks like it is. Okay. Oh, never mind. This is the Sultai Atraxa deck, if my memory is correct. So they'll probably go for the one that they look at the top 3 and put 1 in hand, bin the rest. Unless I'm completely misunderstanding what's going on here, which I like to think I am not. I think it's called strategic planning. Okay. So I was wrong, this is Soulflayer. They will of course be taking our Transmogrify, as that is the only thing they can legally take. Except that they didn't choose that one? Did they not? Oh, they did. I just don't know why it's not showing up. They chose, oh, okay, that's the ones they didn't choose, if I'm correct. So, instant or sorcery, this is the only thing they can take. And might as well. A red source would still go a long way. Not a red source, but that's okay. We'll add ourselves a Gigantha, and then any untapped land in the future will get us Gigantha, which in a following turn will get us Fable. So they'll probably also be running Atraxa. Okay, so they're like Neo Atraxa with Soulflayer of some sort. I'm not really sure what they've got going on, but it's certainly interesting, to say the least. So they can go for the okay. So they'll probably take Hooting Mandrills. They did. I was going to say they can put down like a Hooting Mandrills and Neoform at that turn. They had enough for it. And they should go for Hooting Mandrills here, keep the Neoform. Next turn they can go for a Neoform, get an Atraxa, and hopefully hopefully for them, of course, just win on the spot. We're in a rough spot. Red source is, of course, the best one we could have asked for. Now, is Gigantha better than Fable? I would normally just obviously say, yeah, it's a 5/5, but we kind of need to hit an Atraxa. I'm not sure. We can do both next turn. The argument is, of course, that they will have Stubborn Denial next turn, but we'll see. Maybe they've drawn all 3 copies of Atraxa. Might as well get the revealed cards up, because they're going to be revealing 10. Neoform will of course be the target. So I guess this is going to be a matchup where Hearst comes in a little bit more than the Bryant Cook version of this deck, which just runs the 8 Surveil 5 cards. We'll see. So I guess technically we could draw... I mean, Transmog, of course, would be nice. We could also draw Briefcase, then crack it with Gigantha, draw land and Transmog. Okay, they sack and get an Atraxa. Nothing I think is immediately going to lose us the game. Like a Stubborn Denial is pretty much all I'm caring about here. So they'll take Thoughtseize most likely. Founding the Third Path is free. They probably have to take Mana Confluence, and then Tassigear is just better. Founding, Tassigear, Thoughtseize, Mana, okay. So they'll get to take our Fable here, which they will almost assuredly be taking, because I have 2 Obnixilis anyway. So yeah, Transmog is definitely the best thing we could ask for here, though an Atraxa is also really good. Okay. I guess they're just going to... Oh, okay. So that might be a Stubborn Denial that they're holding up. We do get to get the Briefcase, which we will, of course, be cracking. I might as well go for another one here. Keep our life total high. Not really sure why they'd shock it in unless they are either trying to bait us or they have something. Their life total is largely irrelevant, given that they have an 8/8 lifelinker. Okay, just an Otherworldly Gaze. But we will get to draw 3 next turn, assuming Briefcase survives. And we can try and stave off some of the damage with this Obnixilis. Okay, so they definitely are a Soul Herder deck as well. I mean, the Zetalpa should have been obvious, but I think that gives it away more than anything could. Because you don't really run Striped Riverwinder unless you're running exactly... Soul Flare, I think I might have been calling it Soul Herder. Soul Flare. Take a good chunk of damage here. Cannot block. What do they have for us? So they would have double strike. It'd have pretty much everything it could need if they had it here. But I haven't seen it yet, so not going to be bothered by it unless it hits the stack. This would be quite a funny deck to lose to. Far be it from me to say if a deck's bad, but it's certainly not a meta pick. That Collective Brutality was living up to the name. Let me skip ahead until they make a play. Alright, looks like they're paying costs. Probably just a Tassigear here. No? It still could be a Tassigear. Or is this the Soul Flare that I was kind of worried about? Looks like it. So I don't really think we can beat this, given that it has the double strike. But we will, of course, play it out. Opponent's really thinking. Okay, they play a land. We know all but one of the cards in their hand, unless I haven't been keeping track well. Looks like it might be a Taskir coming down here. No, maybe not. Okay, founding the third path. Which chapter are you picking, my opponent? Maybe the last chapter to Thought Sees Us. That would make some sense. I don't know. I guess we bring in Extinction Event and we bring in Unlicensed Hearse and maybe even Duress in this matchup. They're just going to mill themselves. I'm actually going to yield through the turn to expedite this a little bit since they are taking maybe more time than I would like. So I guess a Taskir is coming down here. They can probably bin Brutality, Grizzly Salvage, Commune, Thoughtseize, and Founding the Third Path. Though they might want to keep some of those around for the last chapter, so they could probably get rid of a Zatalpa. Okay. Pretty much need to find a way to get Atraxa to even pretend like I have a chance in this match. Okay, well that is a way to get Atraxa. I would say we're still not in a great spot, but it goes a long way in getting us to a spot we can survive. They already know we're Transmog, so it's not like we're giving them any more information. At least Fire Prophecy actually does something, the others don't. And it doesn't matter what land we take, since we'll have the 6th land going on. Thinking about if I want to go Ob Nixilis now. I think I do, actually. Casualty the Citizen token. And I'll down tick one, up tick the other. It's a blocker. And it'll give us a little bit of life. We will Atraxa block Atraxa to negate a little bit of the damage they have. They'll probably Thoughtseize here. But seeing that they are much more a graveyard-reliant version of the Neo Atraxa deck makes me... Oh, sorry, I should have definitely discarded Push since they have nothing that it hits. That's on me. Since they are much of a more graveyard-reliant deck, I do feel a little bit better about our sideboard plan, since I have another friend who plays the Bryant Cook version of this deck, and our sideboard plan versus it is not very good. We, of course, take out the Push, which has actually 0 targets, but we don't really have anything we're too ecstatic to bring in, since it just fills up the graveyard so quickly. Whereas this seems to be more of an incremental way to do it, and it also cares way more about the graveyard. So they'll be taking Thoughtseize most likely, since that's the only thing that does anything. Trying to think if there's like an actual way we can win this one, just because Soulflayer completely stops us, and it has indestructible trample vigilance. It's possible I should just concede because of that, but I technically can put a Careful Cultivation on my Atraxa later on, and that would be a way to survive. Okay, that's not good. Might as well point it at the Taskir. Actually, I do think I want to concede this. Just save some time since I don't have a transmog in hand. I feel like I'm too behind, but Hearse, Event, Duress are options. Push definitely comes out. Prophecy can also probably get got. And then I think an Ob Nixilis can go. This isn't really the matchup for it, so maybe both go. Makes our Atraxa hits a little bit worse, but I think this is fine. Yeah, I definitely was playing a little loose towards the end of that. I should have discarded the push, and I should have pinged their face instead of the Tassigear, but a little flustered from that. We'll see about game number 2. Alright, game number 2 with a strong enough hand that I feel I can take this. We're very weak to like a Thoughtseize or Duress here, but Hearse goes a lot longer of a way than it normally would. And we got all our colors, and at the very least we have Fable if they don't turn one Thoughtseize us. Darn. It's unfortunate. That Hearse was going to take us a long way to winning. I don't see why they wouldn't take it. I think it'd be foolhardy not to. Maybe they think our hand is so bad that they can just win without it. Okay, I guess that's their hypothesis. I'd love to prove them wrong. Transmog is of course great. Maybe we'll be casting that turn 6. Maybe they brought in Abrupt Decay. I'm not sure what this deck runs. One of the benefits of running a lesser played deck is you don't have your opponent know as much of what's going on. I expect if they just pass that means they have a salvage in hand. Eat their graveyard. Go to our turn. That's certainly another draw. We only have one play, and it's okay. Let's see the salvage from my opponent that we know they are gonna do here. Oh, Besage you, okay. That actually speeds ourselves up a turn. I think I actually don't want to take the Proving Ground, just because we already have all our colors, and I'd be okay with cycling it. So I think a Tomb makes some sense. I definitely want it to have black, and that's the fetchable. So we're certainly a little ahead in terms of ramp, but maybe these Thoughtseizes will get them there. That can also get them there pretty quickly. This is during upkeep, and they are going to bin all 3. I'd love for them to just pass to me. I suppose best draw for us would be like a Briefcase, since we could go Briefcase Transmog if I felt comfortable doing that. But barring that happening, Gigantha is a perfectly serviceable Transmogrify target as well. Unless she's getting Thoughtseized here. Nope. Just a generic 4/4 Soul Flare that we can actually block. Do I go for Gigantha over Chariot? I'm inclined to say I'm honestly leaning towards just getting the chariot going. They might have Neoform this upcoming turn. Yeah, I think chariot's probably a little bit better in certain situations where they have a kill spell for our Gigantha, but do they really run kill spells? I also kind of want to hold on to the Gigantha. We could tap it and transmog it. It wouldn't be that good. I do kind of want to hold on to the Gigantha here. I think this might be a line that could end poorly for us, but I guess we'll see. It looks like they definitely have a Neoform in hand. Okay. Maybe they're just the superior Atraxa deck. I wouldn't call these hits amazing. They'll probably... Actually, I mean, they'll take the Founding. They'll take the Thoughtseize, probably. I guess the Soul Flare and Watery Grave. Because then they can Founding, cast the Thoughtseize. Yeah, Soul Flare, third path. Yep. Are they just not going to play the land? Okay. Maybe they have... Actually, I don't know why they wouldn't. Double Transmog. What you gonna do about it? Okay, that is, of course, the correct pick in my mind. Do they have another Thoughtseize, which would probably just win them the game? No, they don't, thankfully. Yeah, I'm not attacking with the chariot, so get this going. And it doesn't really matter how we tap, because we're gonna play a land, and I'll have all our colors active with the World Tree. I would like a Thoughtseize. Okay. I like that too. I like the Extinction Event. Do I like that more than the Thoughtseize, though? Think about that in a second. Okay, I like Hearse more than I like Chariot here, because I already have a Chariot. And I'll take a Sulphur Springs because it doesn't deal us damage ever. Now, is Event better than Thoughtseize? Probably. I'm thinking of like the ways we lose. Event's just a great way to stop ourselves from losing. So I'm thinking I take Event over Thoughtseize. Yeah. Let's jam. Sulphur Springs. I might as well go for the Hearse now. We have another Atraxa in hand. We have another Transmog to get the last one out. And we can trade our Atraxa for their Atraxa. And I will, of course, be doing so if I am given the option. Do I want to do this now? Probably not. They don't really have anything good in grave at the moment. I have some concern about founding the third path into like a really good mill with a counter backup, but our Atraxas are going to trade. So I'm not too beat up about that. And the reason I don't think Unlicensed Hearse is worth it is just because we already know they can fill up the grave enough to cast a Soul Herder, and I'm scared of it being good. We can Fable plus Transmog next turn. We can just cast an Atraxa from hand, but that would use up all our mana. We can Extinction Event their Soul Flare if it's very scary, but we can also do that in another turn. We have a large variety of options. I'm really thinking the Extinction Event was the correct call. Just having more ways to not lose is quite nice. Maybe I'll just go for a Soul Flare here. Okay, so this is almost certainly going to be milling for. No? Okay. Got a Thoughtseize opponent. Our hand is somewhat redundant. The Extinction Event is, of course, better. Okay. They are choosing to reveal. I think I go for the Hearse now. Just because this prevents them from getting a Soul Flare unless they have a Otherworldly Gaze in hand. My opponent is kind of getting close to potentially timing out. I really would prefer to beat them not on the clock, but it is their time that they are using. It's looking like we might be going for an Atraxa this next turn. Depends on what they do. I mean, they'll almost assuredly be bonking the Atraxas together. They're not? That seems strange to me. Well, if they won't, I will. And I can eat their Atraxa to prevent the Soul Flare from doing so. Maybe they think that they want to keep us from casting another Atraxa or something. I'm not super sure why they wouldn't attack, because, I mean, if they are going to hopefully trade Atraxas, there's actually zero reason to not attack. Yeah, this seems odd to me. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one. Might as well play a land. And I think the Transmog is a little bit better just because it keeps our mana available. Punishes like a push or something of that nature. Do I think they run push? I'm a little fearful of it. But the benefit is so high if this gets to go off that I think I'm going to be a little greedy here. Waiting to see this pop up. Okay, it looks like they do have a push. Nope. No, they don't. Okay, we will be taking Fable. This time I think I am going to take a Chariot. I think I'll take a Thoughtseize this time. Okay, they conceded. They are getting a little low on clock, so maybe that's prudent for them to do. As far as sideboarding changes, I don't really think that there are any I'd like to make. The Extinction Event seemed to be quite powerful, even though we didn't need to cast it. Having a way to deal with their Soul Flare is essentially one of the few ways we can win once it's resolved. Aside from that, there's some consideration for Ob Nixilis, but I don't really want to take anything out because I think everything else is quite good. I would never cut our Atraxa down to 2, since we know they at least have 2 of them. This is a lot of good things going for it. We have Graveyard Hate and Thoughtseize, and we have a Transmogrify and an Extinction event, but we don't have any red mana. I think I do want to keep this. It's so risky though. Like, we have a lot of good things to deal with them, but if we don't draw another land, we just lose. I don't know. I think this is still a keep. I'm not too happy about it though. The Atraxa, if it was any other land, I'd be a lot happier. So it looks like we are getting turn 1 Thoughtseize. Nope. Okay, well, we did draw a land here. I'm gonna go for the take a good chunk of damage. I know that they have Otherworldly Gaze in hand. I kind of want to take the Witherbloom command. Kind of want to take the Founding the Third Path here. If I take Founding, that'll be their entire... Yeah, I think I take Witherbloom command just to kind of protect my Unlicensed Hearse in the future. I don't think there's really a call to take Otherworldly Gaze. Though maybe there is. Maybe it just sets them so far back. No, I don't think that's the call. Actually, let me think about this. Now I'm going to be lower on clock. So if I take the Otherworldly Gaze, their mana is completely unspent, and they don't get a good look, but they'll have Founding the Third Path to mill and then recast something. I think the Witherbloom command is the call, because I can eat it with the Unlicensed Hearse. We might be too slow. If they mill 3 and then hit a... or even mill 2, they'd have enough for a turn 2 Delve guy. Heck, we could even lose to a Soul Flayer if they get like Zetalpa Soul Flayer. So I'm really hoping this Hearse can carry us far. Just a Brutality. If they didn't keep a Brutality, I'm kind of fearful of what's on top. I'd like to see them just tap out for Founding the Third Path here. And then I'd like to see them mill themselves. Nope. So it looks like a Thoughtseize in our future. Okay, Grizzly Salvage. They'll probably take the Soul Flayer. But I think we can do a pretty good job of getting rid of some of it. And our Extinction event is only 1 land drop away. They choose Soul Flayer, of course, as that is pretty much unarguably the correct play. If I think I'm going to draw exactly a red source here, I would go for the Careful Cultivation, but I'm not making that play. And I think I want to go for the eat of these 2 right now. I won't have a chance to get the Zetalpa if they mill it here. And again, we have an event in 2 turns time. Really don't want to see a Zetalpa. Okay, they milled absolutely nothing good. So this Soul Flayer, if they should cast it, will just be a 4/4 body. Because Taskir has no keywords, and that's the only creature. And I can hold off on the Unlicensed Hearse until their next turn, since they'll have to target something with it. Looks like a Soul Flare. We know their entire hand. That'll be a nice play for us if we don't draw anything good. Anything good, of course, being a red mana source. They'll, of course, be targeting a Neoform, which we will eat. Hit that one. Hit the other Neoform. We can always eat the Witherbloom command at a later date. So they have one unknown in hand. I'd feel a lot better if we drew a red source here. But our Chariot will at least do a good job of playing some amount of defense if they don't kill this here. Okay, Careful Cultivation. I think we just go for a Chariot here. Okay, they run Stubborn Denial now. I guess they always did. Yeah. Next turn we might just have to get rid of our Human Monk token with a Extinction Event if we don't manage to draw anything. Oof, looks like a Delve threat. I guess the best draw for me would be, okay. This could immediately go sour if they get Soul Flare and bin something good. Okay, they got nothing good. If they Visage us, that'd be really bad for them. They chose to Visage you. Not gonna complain about that. Okay, we know their last card. Yeah, if they Visage you, they might lose because of that. There is a play I've been thinking about, which is Careful Cultivation, block with the Unlicensed Hearse. This is, of course, next turn. And then they'll have to Visage you us. We can't take that many more hits. I take Witherbloom command, and actually, I know that they can already do that, so I'll take 2 Grizzly Salvages here. Okay, a red source would be so good here. There we go. We know their last card. Get ourselves a nice Atraxa to help stabilize the board. We'll take another Hearse. We'll take an event. I think I'll take a... No, I can't take a Chariot. Yeah, we'll take a Sekenzen. And just have to be happy with an incredible turnaround. We're doing pretty good for ourselves now. Looks like, are they thinking about channeling this now? You should do that end of turn if you're going to do it at all. We'll probably fetch a basic when they go for it here. Because then we can Careful Cultivate. I think I'll take Grizzly Salvage. And no, actually I take the Thoughtseize. I can't take both Collected Brutality, so I'll just take one. I'm thinking like Founding the Third Path type nonsense going on. I don't think we're losing this one. Yeah, I will search. I will get a red source to pretend like we have something, like they didn't see us add every card in here except these two to hand. I don't really know what single card they could draw, and it doesn't matter. Okay, that was pretty tense at times. I did not expect the Soulflayer Atraxa Neoform deck to be the one that's given us the most trouble so far this league, but I'll be back for match number 4. Alright, we're back for match number 4, and my obsessive video watching makes me believe that this is the green-black mid-range player who I've seen before. Regardless, I'm keeping this hand. It's really good. If you were to put like a draft of the perfect hand, I think this would be pretty close to it. One of these lands could be a Thoughtseize, but I'm thinking this is the Golgari mid-range guy, who also makes good videos. Looking like I might be right. They should take Transmogrify. Or Briefcase. But we do have 8 total Briefcase style effects. Okay. Maybe the Ob goes away in getting us a token for turn 4. I'll probably be doing that. The risk in taking Briefcase or Cultivation is that it might slow us down, but you still have the ever-looming threat of Transmogrify. Okay. So they should take Transmogrify here, I think. Maybe Chariot, if they want to just hold open removal at infinitum. Okay. Do they have a third discard spell? Okay, they do. Very cool. Well, you can't Thoughtseize that. I think we have enough green. Add our nice little Elk Elemental. And then hope for the Great Equalizer with Eska's Chariot for next turn. We have a nice Atraxa that is not actually that nice, but that's okay. Get ourselves a Chariot down, because why not? Are they on mono black this time around? I know they enjoy mid-range strats, so I guess this makes sense. I could have sacrificed the Chariot there. Shouldn't have yielded, I don't think. Okay. X is the number of cards in the graveyard. Yeah, so I kind of made a mistake by yielding through the turn. It's possible I can pull a fast one on them, but I would hate to lose to that. So each player discards a card. I will discard Atraxa. They're down to 2 cards in hand. Takenuma. Gonna assume their last card is removal. Suppose not. I still think Giganta might be safer here. Because we can attack their Liliana down. Which I am happy to do. They can block with the Hive. I don't care. That would be an extremely unfavorable trade for them. Okay, power word kill. Glad I didn't go for it that turn. They've got 1 card in hand. They got no cards in hand. Yeah, we'll probably discard this. The card that doesn't win us the game on the spot. And then I think maybe it's a good idea to play the card that does win us the game on the spot. I kind of actually want to hold open. Well, I guess I don't really need to hold open black mana, because I have Giganta. But we'll get ourselves a nice little Atraxa, and the game's over. Yeah, well, that's how it goes. On to sideboarding. But first I want to tell him that I like your videos. Just to let him know. In this matchup, I think I might want to bring in Luca. It's for the grindy matchup, of course. I think Fatal Push is still good. Luca's really the only consideration. Maybe Bin and Ob. So 1 Luca, 1 Ob. I just think that we have such a good matchup versus like black-based mid-range decks. If I'm facing Rakdos mid-range, I really oftentimes just don't even sideboard. So we'll see if that's enough to get me there. Like, we just have such an over-the-top plan. Keepable hand. We have a Chariot, we have Thoughtseize, we have Ramp. What more could you ask for? I guess I could ask to not be turn 1 Thoughtseized again. Okay, well, I didn't get turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 1 Duress instead. So I'll probably take our Thoughtseize. Or Chariot, maybe? We'll see in a second. Okay, that makes sense to me. Happy to get the 3rd land. Let's take a peek at what they've got going on upstairs. Okay, well, that's a lot of removal that they have here. Do I think any of these is the scariest one? I mean, they're kind of land light here, honestly. I think I want to take the Murderous Rider. I don't really want to take Shieldred's Edict. Yeah. They can make us sack our Ob Nixilis if we go for it, but I think we have a pretty okay time. Oh, are they just tapping out? Okay, so they drew a Thoughtseize. Maybe they'll take the Ob here. Okay. Well, we know they didn't draw a land. And this might be another matchup where having Gigantha just is so clutch. Okay, no land for them. We will, of course, see if they are willing to kill it now. They are not. Maybe an upkeep. Okay, that's smart. They would just have a really rough time if we drew Chariot here. That is not Chariot. We'll add our little elk friend to hand. Only so much ways attrition can get you if you don't do anything yourself. I don't think that they know about our 2nd Overgrown Tomb, but I'll play it tapped anyway. And then Gigantha can get killed next turn. They did get a land. They're not going to commit anything. Fatal Push. Goodbye, Gigantha. It's been nice. 5 mana, make them discard a card. I would like them to play a creature here, I think. They can start drawing with Castle Locked Thwain. And they will. They do take a good chunk of damage to do so. I'd say... Okay, I was gonna say our best draw would probably be either, I guess not a token generator, so maybe World Tree? Okay. Now any land allows us to play Atraxa, which immune to Power Word Kill. So lands are good, spells are good, them playing a creature is good for us because it's more chances to get an untapped land. That's fine. It's a land in some ways. If they allow us to untap with this Atraxa in hand, I will feel amazing about our position. Are they gonna kill our creature? Or... Okay. I could have gone for a Fire Prophecy there. Again, I should probably stop auto-healing through turn. That's kind of a bad habit of mine. Interesting. Goodbye. Yeah, that's what I thought. So they're somewhat incentivized to go for a hand attack spell here. Looks like they don't have one. I do have this briefcase. I would like to keep this briefcase around. Okay, good. I was going to say I'd like to keep this briefcase around as long as I can because World Tree allows me to draw with it. Time to go over the top of my opponent. Nice attrition deck. Gonna power word kill this? I don't think you are. Fire Prophecy. I don't think I want Thoughtseize when I can have a backup Atraxa. So I will take a measly 4 cards. If they have Shieldred's Edict, they can kill this. Power word kill will not. Oh, it looks like they responded. Didn't think taking Atraxa was correct there. Oh, yeah. You don't expect... You really don't expect the Jund deck to be the one casting a 5-color card. I will be binning the Prophecy. Mutavault. I know Power Word Kill is a card in their hand. Is this a Murderous Rider? And sorry if that typing was really loud. I don't know how loud it sounds. I think I might just want to Fable here. 1, 2, 3. And then I can draw with Briefcase. Yeah, that has to be the correct play. If it eats some removal, I'm feeling good. And Briefcase draw 3. That is, back when I ran the red-green, it was like an amazing once-in-a-lifetime feeling to draw 3 off the Briefcase. Now it's a once-every-game type of a deal. They're down to 1 card in hand. Obviously I wasn't going to transmog there. Be silly. Would be silly. Are they just Legend Rule to take a little less damage there? Do they go for the discard, cash in? Yep, I will let that happen. Bin the Beseiju. I don't want to crack the Briefcase here, just in case they Thoughtseize me. I don't want them to have any more information than they should have. Okay. I will take this. They'll go up to 10. I'll go down to 14. I'll draw 3, one of which is another Atraxa. So I can bin a Transmogrify, because I don't have enough targets. And maybe I bin the Proving Ground as well. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, can you keep removing all of my cards, opponent? I would hope the answer is no, but even if it is, I don't think it matters. I think we are in such a commanding position. Yeah, I'll draw 5 here. Why not? And I'll play the Sekens in here. Kill that. I'll bin a Cultivation, I think. I'll take it. We have him on the clock. We will sadly have to discard one of our lands, most likely. Oh, do they have another kill spell? They do. Well, I'm glad I have another way to get an Atraxa next turn. That castle lockdown's doing them a lot of work. Shieldred, okay. That'll be good because we can Fatal Push. Okay, that seems smart. Might as well get the damage in while you can. I have no way to get Revolt before I draw the card, since unfortunately this triggers after our draw step. But it has triggered now. Let's see. 4 for Chariot. Yeah, I think we'll play the Spring. This is always getting pushed. And get our Chariot down. One of many. And now we actually have fodder to sacrifice. Let me just verify that I do have another Atraxa. Yes, I was smart enough to not side it out. And yep. Haven't made that mistake yet, but I would be remiss if I did. We can take Prophecy, Briefcase, Chariot, Pathway. Okay, that was enough, and they probably said good game. Great game. Been seeing your deck a lot recently. Yeah, I guess it has been popping up more. Great game. So that is match number 4, and I will see you for the 5-0 attempt, I guess. Alright, here we are for match number 5. We are going second here. Let's see what we can't do. I'd say I'd feel better about this hand if it had red source. Is it that bad, though? It's not great. I think I can throw it back. Of course. Great hand. What an amazing hand that is. I can probably put back this and then have a painless turn to Briefcase. Yeah. I'll take 3 on turn 1. What do they have for me? Okay, control. Guess I'll have to put my money where my mouth is and beat this deck. What do you have, opponent? What are you gonna do with 0 mana? Okay. What an odd variation they have here. I think I still do take the Spell Pierce. The lockdown can be a little annoying, but everything else I think is beatable. So I just need to play a little around Spell Pierce, which I cannot do this turn. But I'm still going to go for the Briefcase here. Make them use the mana if they'd like to. They do. Kind of surprised they actually took that. Maybe it makes sense with what their hand is, but just a foretell of Behold the Multiverse. Another Briefcase. I do think I have some reason to go for Briefcase here. Maybe eat out the temporary lockdown. I could also add Gigantha. If all they're doing next turn is temporary lockdowning one card, I feel pretty good. So I'll go for it here. And if we don't draw anything good, we'll just add Gigantha and then have her for turn 5. One unknown, it'll be 2 during their turn, but I'm quite glad to have the Spell Pierce out of their hand. Okay. Do I think that their last card is a counterspell? I was hoping that would have been a Thoughtseize, but I think I am going to go for the Transmog here. We can't pay for anything that's not a censor, but if this goes away, if this goes our way, we'll be in quite a good spot. Okay, it went our way. Maybe a Thoughtseize would be nice here. Okay. Let me think about it, actually. I think Chariot is always the pick. Cultivation is free. Fire Prophecy is free. I think Thoughtseize might actually be the call here, just because we know they have Azuria's Charm. And which land do I think is the best? Probably one that has a Painless Red. Sekenzen's just better. So yeah, just a nice draw 5 here, and I think I'll hold off on Thoughtseizing here. They'll be drawing 2 new cards with their Foretold card anyway. So I'd like to hold on to it. It's a shame that I couldn't take both Thoughtseize and Transmogrify. I feel like that would have been a lot stronger. But I'm not going to complain too much. They kept 2 on the top, which obviously not great for us. Maybe land Wrath is to be expected. No? Okay. Well, we won't have to wait too long to find out what they've got. A Boseiju. Might as well play this land here. One more land in our briefcase will be crackable with the World Tree. But for the time being, I will happily take a little chunk of damage here. See what they've got going on this turn. Okay. Well, the Wandering Emperor doesn't do anything versus us. If they want to take a turn off to Verdict, they can be my guest. And Charm puts it on top of my library. Maybe I'm actually okay with that. And then next turn I can just cast it. So what if I took the Wandering Emperor? They have to Charm. They have 1 draw for a counterspell. I'm probably also going to Chariot this turn if I do this play. So yeah, I actually am okay with this Charm nonsense of theirs, since it's a temporary solution to a problem. Okay. And now, of course, they do have the capacity to temporary lockdown as well, which would be quite sad. So maybe I just keep the Careful Cultivation or even Sekenzen available. Let's see, if I Chariot, they're definitely going to want to lock down. But then I have Boseiju, so maybe that's not that bad. Okay. I've decided that I want them to be forced to spend their mana. I just want them to have to tap out a little bit on their turn. It's not too much to ask. And we always have this Boseiju. Let that happen. Don't feel too happy about it, but we can cast our Atraxa next turn. So I think I'm just going to play this tapped, add our companion, just in case of Field of Ruin. See where this takes us. Is this like a Teferi? Okay. We can theoretically kill the Teferi if they don't have a counterspell for our card. Would love a Thoughtseize there. Maybe it's worth it to go for the Giganta instead. I think there's a lot of upside to doing that. Gives him one more turn for a counterspell, but this plays around some of the permissive counterspells. And if this gets a verdict out of them, I'm feeling good. I will, of course, be hitting the Teferi. Feel a little silly not going for the Atraxa, but you know, if I could see the future, I wouldn't be playing Magic, I'd be playing the slot machines somewhere. You know, I don't really care about that one. I'm kind of wanting to kill this here, because I can crack it, but I can do that on my turn as well. This plays into Wandering Emperor a little bit more. Didn't have a counterspell last turn. You won't this turn. There we go. Called shots. That's good. The rest of this is kind of mopey. Well, I might as well hit him. Honestly, I might as well cycle one. I'm not going to use the mana for anything else. And who knows, maybe I get a Thoughtseize. Nope, just a briefcase. Which I think I will probably commit next turn. And if I'm doing that, I might as well go for a Fable here, so I can get some nice discards going on. I just have a ridiculous amount of card advantage imminent. Okay, so they do have one of the permissive counterspells. Veto. Okay, looks like a verdict is like guaranteed here. No? Okay, this is a farewell then. Please hit enchantment as well. Make the mistake. Or is this a Shark Typhoon? Okay, yeah, it's farewell. Well, we're going to start drawing some cards here. I will hold this Boseiju as long as I possibly can. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll have 2 mana open afterwards. Not enough for the Fable, but I mean, I'm drawing 3 cards. I'm not really complaining. Go for it now. Draw. That's nice. Probably a tap land here. We have another chance for Transmogrify. I would prefer to have access to like a Thoughtseize of some sort. I'm actually going to try and speed the clock up a little bit. I'm not really hurting for mana, but nor are they. And if this forces an Emperor out of them, well, I'm just having a good time then, aren't I? I'm not able to do Fable plus Transmogrify, so I'll go for the lower committal option. Pass it over to them. Maybe this will get a verdict out of them, in which case I'm feeling really good. Lockdown and number 3. I could Besage you this here. I still kind of want to Besage you the one with the briefcase on it now. Turns out 1 land for 3 cards, pretty good. And they're not hurting for mana. Not even close. Maybe I'll time out this time. Okay, I will discard Proving Ground and Prophecy. Could hold this for a shark, not going to. Pretty good. Might as well shock one in. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I could go for a Transmog here, actually. I think that's probably smarter, just because I can still crack the briefcase if this goes wrong. Okay. Thoughtseize, please. Thank you. Obnixilis, amazing. Chariot, amazing. Fable, amazing. Land, fine. Push, free. Opponent, I would like to take a look at your hand, see what you got going on there. Make disappear. Not very good here. I will make the Verdict disappear and go for a Fable. Maybe it's an overcommitment. Maybe I should be holding open the briefcase. I don't care. I'm going to kill them next turn if everything goes well. I am not going to be committing the Chariot, though. Another Wrath? Okay. Fine by me. I know your last card. I can do this now. Save a little clock. My opponent's done an excellent job of dealing with my board so far. What about now, opponent? What will you do about the 3rd Atraxa? How many Atraxas does it take? Okay, I'll take Obnixilis, Chariot, Fable, Forest, push. And yeah, why not? We'll go for a Chariot here. I think we have some cards to burn. And I want to essentially be guaranteed to get a kill next turn. We do this pre-combat so we can pay for their nonsense. So they have one-ish draw to get a Wrath effect, or else they will be dying here. Goodbye push. It's been nice. Okay, that looks like maybe they have whatever that thing was. Azorius Charm. But, you know, I'm not going to complain about casting Atraxa again. I will crew without using... Or I guess I will use the Fable, because I don't really... I want them dead. Dead. 7, 11, that's enough. And I want this just in case of any, like, Wandering Emperor nonsense going on here. Looking like dead. There we go. Okay. Game 1. Just need to do that one more time. We're bringing in Aluka, bringing in Duress, getting rid of Fatal Push, and Prophecy. And I think... Let me look at the sideboard again. Push, no. Volley, no. Prophecy, no. Hearse, no. EE, no. And Giganta. Run it back. See if we can get this lightning to strike twice. I would be very happy to get a 5-0 with this deck again, since it's been incredibly fun to play. And I think it deserves its time in the sunlight. Okay. I might be playing a little bit faster just because I am down on clock by about 6 minutes. So if I'm a little less well-spoken, that is why. Good enough hand for me. Turn 2 ramp into turn 3 threat. And we have all our colors. So yeah, best draw would be Duress or Thoughtseize here. Well, I asked. Are they going to kill my monk in response? If they do, I'll float. Okay, just countering it. That's fine. I'll take 2 to avoid 1. I'm expecting one of many lockdowns to be incoming here. Though maybe they don't because they fear just losing on the spot. Okay, is this a Wrath? No, this is a Wandering Emperor. Okay, I will discard Proving Ground and Tomb. That's what I was hoping for. May I see what you got going on there, opponent? Hope you don't mind. Looks like they do kind of mind. But I don't mind winning the game. They bottomed both. A null. Okay. None of these really matter. At the moment, I think I want to get rid of Make Disappear. We'll play our land. Attack for 1, and then target the monk afterwards. Just in case we draw another Thoughtseize, we'll have access to black mana. Transmog, Thoughtseize, Chariot. I guess I can take a Duress here, actually. Sekenzin, Fire Prophecy's free. Actually, I want World Tree. And then, do I Duress here? Probably not. Yeah, I want the world tree. Just these games tend to go longer, so if I'm going to be hard casting it at some point, I'd rather have it. Hard casting Atraxa, of course. We got 10 minutes to win. Just drew another Transmogrify. I will be looking at your hand before doing anything further. Okay, their hand did not get any better. I will take the temporary lockdown. Yeah. You can counter whatever I do, opponent. Don't think it matters. They can cycle a little bit. They can cycle twice. But, okay, looks like they're starting. Maybe they're hoping for some sort of kill spell, I'm not sure. They're taking a good chunk, though. And I'm going to commit a Fable here. This runs into a null, but what doesn't? Okay. Happy to do that now. They'll probably cycle the other farmland. Okay. We are in a pretty commanding position. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we draw a land, we can Chariot Transmog if need be. Or if this gets to attack, of course. Foretelling a card. Okay, well, I foretell that they're going to lose. We'll see if I'm correct. Okay, that's really good. Does this get any removal out of them? Okay. I will be swinging for a lethal attempt. Opponent, please do not settle the wreckage me. I would be really unhappy with that. Actually, I really wouldn't care, now that I think about it, because I have a Transmogrify and an Atraxa to cast. What you got, opponent? If you have Wandering Emperor, you still die. If you have the Azorius Charm, you're probably going to lose anyway. Okay, that's the Behold that we knew about. Looks like a charm. I'm going to transmog rather than cast the Atraxa. Gonna take Obnixilis and win the game. Oh, what a way to win. Alright, opponent. Would you like to draw 7 cards? I think they would. There we go. 5-0 trophy with Atraxa Transmogrify. Trophy number 5 puts us on the front page of the leaderboard. So that went excellently. I think everything worked exactly as we planned it to. I really don't have too much more to say about it. I think that the main game plan is still shown to be stronger than Titan was. The control matchup at the end really showcased just how ridiculous the advantage can be. They can wrath our board as many times as they want. I'm still going to be drawing 5 cards each time. And then the Lifelink and Vigilance really came in clutch versus Greasefang. So, yeah, I guess that's everything I wanted to mention. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.